This episode of the Sloopcast is brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company is an Ohio-based company where they usually say our seasonings will take your barbecue from good to great. Great seasonings such as the Brits Blend, Coffee and Q, Snore and Heat, the Cajun, Smoked Savory, Two-Border, S&P Bud, the Carry Steak, Discord, Oak, Four Horsemen, the Old Fashioned, and the Mad Hatter. Check out all of these seasonings over at the Mad Canadian BBQ.com. That is the Mad Canadian BBQ.com. Be sure to use the promo code SloopCast10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
This episode of the Sloopcast also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Kyle, I have some stuff. This is the cast iron. This is one of the sampler bags. So I just want to hold that up for our YouTube people. It's for a sampler bag, and it's 4 ounces. It's actually really nice, just to give you a comparison to like a beer can there. It's pretty, like I said, you get 6 of these in a sampler, and they're all individually sealed, so it's going to stay fresh a lot longer. I got the Ride or Die right here, and I got a bag of Unicorn right here. You can find all of this and a bunch of amazing coffees at ironbeancoffee.com. That's ironbeancoffee.com, America's local coffee roaster. What's up, YouTube? Aren't you glad? Hey, guy, you wanna hear something? You wanna hear something fun, YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna talk anything about any elections.
You're welcome.
Ugh. I'm not gonna talk any further about it, so as not to out myself. That's it. We don't do that here. This is an escape away. We have a football game this weekend, so that will be fun. That will be very fun. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go watch some MAC football, because we're recording this on a Wednesday night. So, a little bit of Wednesday night action.
All right, let's kick it off here.
Yep, let's join our audio listeners. We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing pretty well. How are you, Jared?
Oh, I'm doing just fine.
Fine?
Just fine.
But Jared.
Not Kyle, that's not like just fine. No, it's like just fine. There's a real inflection difference with the phrase just fine.
Well, Jared, after we get done recording here, we get to watch some action.
It's kind of why I'm happy.
Yeah.
You're going to watch some action after this.
Yes. All right, let's get right into it here. Let's go ahead and start off with some Buckeye news for the week. Let's talk basketball. Going to talk basketball here.
Bad news, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. Abel Porter, who's the transfer from Utah State, won't be stepping onto the Schottenstein court this year. He was diagnosed with a rare heart disease, which ends his basketball career.
Yeah, just so we're clear, this has nothing to do with the pandemic, with anything like that. This is not related to that in any way. Just because that and heart swelling and yada, yada, yada is on the forefront of everyone's mind, but just this is not related to that.
Yep. And so this is just another layer of bad news for the Buckeye basketball team, because you're already out with Seth Towns and Musa Jallow as well. Not looking pretty good for the start of, well, not even the start of basketball. Yeah. Basketball hasn't even started yet.
It's weirdly close, though.
Mm-hmm.
It is weirdly close. Just because it feels like we just started, because we did in Big Ten sphere, just started football, and basketball is legitimately not that far away.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks when you're doing a podcast to be honest. You kind of want those things spread out as much as possible for content. More bad injury news. We are, and this is probably pretty old news to most of the people listening. We had speculated that Cam Brown's injury was probably an Achilles injury. That has since become official, and an Achilles injury is not a thing you come back from easily or quickly. He will miss the remainder of the season. This will leave Sevyn Banks taking most of the reps at CB2 for the rest of the season.
Yep. Good news. Good news here is that we have 2 black stripes. We have wide receiver Marvin Davies.
Or a lack of black stripes.
Yeah.
A removal of black stripes.
Yes. We have wide receiver walk-on Marvin Davies and freshman kicker Jake Siebert.
Yeah, Jake Siebert in a regular world would not have seen the field this year. Maybe would have gray shirted, may not even been on the team in a regular season, because that's kind of how Ohio State handles their kickers and their punters. You only want one of them on scholarship at the same time, and so on and so forth. And you also just don't want to burn that eligibility. Well, no one's burning eligibility this year. So you can go ahead and throw Jake Siebert in a game now, because Blake Hobbill is not official. This has not been made official, but he has a groin injury and maybe potentially isn't going to play in this game upcoming. Siebert was not available. I don't believe he made the trip to Happy Valley last week. I assume, will be dressed and ready to potentially be the kicker for Ohio State this weekend.
Yeah, all we know is that Blake is recovering from a groin injury.
Yeah,
is all that's been released.
And yeah, we do not know in any official status that he will or won't be playing.
Yeah. Or
he might try. It might be a game time decision. He tried last week. It didn't go well, so we'll see.
Yep. All right, let's talk about one more thing. We have
real quick,
an update here for next weekend. The Ohio State-Maryland game will be a 3:30 kickoff on BTN.
There you go.
Very, very interesting, but 3:30 BTN.
Why is that interesting?
Ohio State normally doesn't play a 3:30. That's what's interesting. It's either noon or night.
Well, keep in mind,
typically.
And technically this game, by the way, just want to point out that Ohio State's about to play a night game in November, which under normal circumstances was a no-no. Big Ten doesn't play night games in November traditionally. So this is about the time where you see a lot of those 3:30 games in November. But like I said, Ohio State's playing Rutgers this weekend at night in November. Now, Piscataway, New Jersey isn't to the environment that those rules are typically invented for. But all right, Kyle. Went over the Ryan Day press conference, and it was death. There wasn't much to talk about. So I'm canceling Deciphering Day for this week because I respect everyone's time too much. So instead, let's talk a little bit of recruiting.
We haven't talked about recruiting in a while here.
No, we typically don't during the season because we just don't have time during the season. But like I said, Deciphering Day would have been death this week. So we're going to cancel Deciphering Day. We're going to do a little bit of recruiting. Not going to spend a ton of time on it. I picked out 4 players to talk about. 4 players to keep an eye on for both the 2021 and 2022 class. This was partially motivated by the fact that Derek Davis, and if you listen to us during the offseason, you know Derek Davis is a very valuable target for Ohio State from the state of Pennsylvania. He is a safety. He's a true safety. There's a lot of sort of hybrid-y safeties in the Ohio State recruiting class. Derek Davis is a true safety. It would be really nice to have him, on top of the fact that, by the way, he's really good. just outside the top 50 overall.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best players in the entire country. He's set to announce his commitment this weekend. Kyle, we're officially late in the cycle. We're about 6 weeks away.
We are.
From the initial recruiting day, the early recruiting day. So we're no longer early in the cycle. You can probably bet that whomever Derek Davis chooses is going to end up being the team. You don't typically see a flip happen in that short of a window. So
like we missed we always kind of jokingly said this is the early part of the recruiting cycle.
Yeah.
Now we're saying we're in the late cycle. We never hit the middle cycle.
I think we talked a lot of recruiting like in September and August, where we were just kind of right there in the sweet spot.
All right. Who else do we have here to keep an eye on?
Well, real quick, Derek Davis Jr., like I said, announcing this weekend.
Yes.
Kyle, how are we feeling? How are we feeling as far as Ohio State's chances here? Now, the crystal balls are all Penn State, but I'd say that all of those crystal balls were placed a while ago, and that Derek Davis Jr. is notoriously secretive with his recruiting.
Yeah, it's tough because just honestly, it just really depends on how well he really likes how Ohio State operates. I'm trying to remember who it is. But they showed it against the Penn State game. No, actually, was it Justin Fields? Or there was somebody who said, "Oh, hey, I went to I went to the
Justin
game."
Fields.
Yep, I went to the game as a visit to Penn State. I ended up liking the team, but for Ohio State though, on the other team across the field though.
Yeah.
Well, could this be here? Maybe it could be where it comes to the game and would really like how Ohio State does.
Well, and of course, these guys can't go to the games this year. So that sucks. But of course, he's watching it on TV. He took a road trip to LSU in a super duper unofficial capacity.
Yeah. So I think it's probably right now, I'm going to say it's like 55 for Penn State, 45 Ohio State.
I'm actually giving Ohio State the nod. I've broken it down like this. I'm giving Ohio State a 60%, giving Penn State a 30%, and I'm keeping LSU at like a 10%. But honestly, no one really knows.
He's curious on you having LSU at 10%. I mean LSU's not DBU.
Neither's Penn State. All right. A couple more players from the 2021 class. JT Tuimoloau. I almost had it.
Almost.
Emeka Ibuka. These are the two kids from Washington. We talked about them the entire offseason. They haven't committed yet. Don't expect JTT to commit during the early recruiting period. I think that's a later recruiting situation for him. That being said, I still feel great that both of these guys are coming to Ohio State. We all would have liked to have seen them commit by now. Both of them are trying to hold out for trips. When you are, each of them a top 10 player in the entire country, you can hold out because they'll hold the spot for you. That being said, Ohio State. I feel great about both of these guys.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. I mean, JTT is the number one ranked strong defensive end. Emeka is the number one ranked receiver in the country.
Yeah. And last name for the 2021 class I want to mention real quick, Rayshawn Davis. Rayshawn Davis is a current LSU commit. He committed to LSU on January 1, 2020. With, sort of caught up in the emotion of a national title
run.
Yeah, they hadn't won. There was that was like another week yet, but they had won a playoff game at that point. Mm-hmm. Now LSU's not looking so great.
There's their defense.
Nothing about LSU looks great right now. Rayshawn Davis is a guy that Ohio State has been going after for a long time. He goes to the Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, California, which is a high school that Ohio State is desperately trying to get a relationship with. Rayshawn Davis is an excellent player, number 38 overall in the country, top 3 player from the state of California, top 3 outside linebacker in the entire country. A couple months ago, I would have said no chance for Ohio State. Now, there's a chance. I'm not saying it's a good chance. I'm not saying it's a great chance. But when you have a top 50 player in the country, even if there's a little bit of a chance, it's worth talking about. It's worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely.
All right, Kyle, let's talk 2022 now.
Yeah, this seemed to be the thing to talk about this week. Because, I mean, who else are you going to talk about this week, right?
Not Rutgers.
So we got about 4 names here that's really popped up here that want to have our listeners know the names of.
Yeah. And
potentially could be good news for Ohio State, but definitely keep your ears open for these players here.
Yeah. First and foremost, probably one of the biggest names in the entire 2022 class. Quinn, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name because this is the Sloopcast after all, and he is a 2022 kid. So forgive me. But Quinn, how you want to help me out on this one, Kyle? I want you to struggle.
I want to see you struggle.
Quinn, I really don't know. I really just don't know.
Ewers?
Sure. Basically, he he is the number 1 quarterback in the 2022 class. He's the number 2 overall player in the 2022 class, and he's the number 1 player from the state of Texas. And that I've already mentioned, he's a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ewers.
Ewers?
That's You? Y-O-O.
Okay.
U-R-Z.
Oh,
Ewers. Quinn Ewers.
So it's like Y-O-U''E-R-S. Ewers.
Or
it's kind of a Yuns.
Sure.
Maybe it's, in Pittsburgh they say Yuns, and maybe in Texas they say Ewers.
Okay. All right.
Quinn Ewers. We're going Ewers until someone tells me I'm wrong. Quinn Ewers. Like I said, one of the best players in the entire 2022 class. I've heard the comparison that he's basically Joe Burrow with just basically a more college-ready Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, obviously great, did not come out of high school college-ready.
No, I think Joe Burrow was a 4-star.
He was very
highly. He was a solid 4-star, but yeah, I mean, this is a ranked. The composite's ranked number 2. 24/7 Sports has him ranked the best player.
Yeah. The composite has him at a 9994. I've heard say that he is the best quarterback to come out of high school since Lawrence and Fields, who were basically neck and neck in their in their recruiting class. He decommits from Texas. He is not committed yet to Ohio State. It feels like it's a thing that's going to happen at some point this month. Now, 2022. So, Kyle, where are we in this recruiting cycle?
We're very late.
No.
Oh, 2022. Yes.
We're very early in this recruiting cycle. So, all right. Another name to keep an eye on, Caleb Burton, another player from Texas. He is a wide receiver, smaller, shiftier type player, maybe more of a slot receiver, but talented nonetheless. Top 10 in the entire country, number 1 receiver in the entire country, and like I said, number 3 player from the state of Texas. Texas is freaking loaded. I know, recruiting update of the century. I know talented kids come from Texas, but he's number 3 in Texas. and number 10 nationally. Good God. Now we're talking a little bit about Mater Day High School. Here's another player. This, of course, being the 2022 class. Damani Jackson. He is a cornerback. Kyle, he is the number 3 player in the country in the 2022 class. And signs are very good for Ohio State right now. So right now we have more so with Ewers and Burton. They feel like real solid to Ohio State right now. Like real solid to Ohio State right now. And like I said, that's your number 2 and number 10 players in the entire 2022 class. Damani Jackson, number 3 player in the entire 2022 class. And he's looking pretty good to Ohio State. Not where we have Ewers and Burton, but still very, very positive. The 2022 class is about to blow up in a good way. Not in the way Texas, their recruiting classes are blowing up. Blowing up in a good way.
Yeah.
Last name, and Kyle, I'm gonna need a scouting report from you here. Are you anywhere near Pilot Mountain in North Carolina?
I drive by it on my way to and from Ohio.
Okay, well, I'm going to need a scouting trip from you.
Uh-huh.
Benji Gosnell. He
Sure.
is a tight end. He is just outside the top 10 for tight ends in the country. Just inside the top 10 for players from North Carolina, and currently sitting at 265 overall for the entire country. Feel real good about Benji. Feeling real good here. So that's 4 names to keep an eye on in the 2022 class.
All right. Definitely keep an eye out for Benji here. In case those who are curious, like, oh, Pilot Mountain is about just northwest of Winston-Salem or Greensboro.
That's not terribly far from you.
It's a good 2 hour, about 2.5 hour drive from me.
Oh, okay. I was thinking more like 1.5, but you know North Carolina much better than me, so I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm on the other side of Raleigh.
That's true. I forget that you just don't live in the dead center of Raleigh.
I keep going east for some reason. I keep moving east. It was Durham, then West Raleigh, now East Raleigh. I don't think I want to go any more east, but...
All right. Kyle, it's time to do the Sloop picks, but first let's do one of our ad reads. You want to go or should I go?
Sure. Let's talk about the Mad Canadian. Mad Canadian still writing us those angry emails, but you know what?
Yeah.
We love it.
We do. Of course, now he just sends us angry emojis in the Discord server.
Yes, and he loves it. He loves it. Yes, Mad Canadian. We're happy to be... having him as a sponsor for the past year, giving us just some great seasonings over the past year, added a bunch of new seasonings the last 12 months here. Is just such a great guy, such a great seasonings that he's made. And I've tried quite a bit of these. I know Jared's tried all of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had all of them at some point or another. Yes. I've even had 2 secret ones that you guys don't know about yet.
Oof. Yes. Let's talk about the... Let's do the... Oh, which one do we not give enough love for? I feel like we give love...
Ope is one I know I don't talk about enough.
Yes, the Ope. The Ope. Tell me about the Ope here. What makes the Ope so great?
Well, it's
and what do you use it on?
Well, it's smoked ranch.
So it's a perfect Ohio seasoning.
Yeah, basically that's what it boils down to. That's why it's called the Ope. That's it. That's the tweet. That's the whole thing.
That's the seasoning. Curry steak, one of my all-time favorites. It's a versatile seasoning.
Did that tonight.
Everything. It goes on everything. You don't know what seasoning to put it on, and you don't want to do another salt and pepper blend. Curry steak. Can't go wrong.
That being said, the salt and pepper blend, the S&P Bud is pretty great too. Yes. It's a potato cheat code. I don't care how you're doing your potato. cutting it up, frying it, baking it, French frying it. I don't care how you're doing your potato. The S&P bud is going to elevate that. Mashed? Yeah, it'll do that. Home fries? Of course.
Yeah. Be sure to check out those and the other 12, so a total of 14 seasonings that the Mad Canadian currently has available over at themadcanadianbbq.com. That is themadcanadianbbq.com. Promo code SLOOPCAST10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
All right, Kyle. Let's do the Sloop picks.
All right.
7 games. We actually get to do 7 games this week.
Jared, I need us to relax. Let's stretch out our necks here. We're sucking this year. We need to pick it up. We need to pick it up here.
I'm doing just fine.
Are you?
Well, I mean, by my standards. That's the thing. My standards are lower.
You and I, right now, are tied for 4th. 18 picks corrected. Ahead of us is Tanner with 20.
Mm-hmm.
Mad Canadian is beating us, Jared.
Yeah.
He has 21. And Jay with 23.
Whew. All right.
We got some catching up to do here. Not a lot of time left.
Okay. I think we have a lot of time left, actually.
Well, with
let's we actually get to do 7 games this week, so that's good. I specifically said, you know what, maybe I shouldn't put the Wisconsin game on the schedule
on here.
Yeah, shouldn't put Wisconsin on the schedule for this week. Their game once again canceled.
Maybe ever this year.
I don't know. This is going to be the episode where I don't say that word.
All right, first game here, Jared. We have BYU taking on Boise State.
This is a Friday nighter.
Both teams are undefeated. I believe Boise State's undefeated.
Yeah, but BYU has 7 games and Boise has 2. So it's not real apples to apples as far as being undefeated goes.
Yeah. We have BYU favorite by 2.5 points. And I think you kind of alluded to my pick of why I'm going to pick BYU. 7 games versus 2 games. I understand this is at Boise State. It's going to be a night game under the playing on the blue turf there. I just think BYU is just going to, because of the amount of games that they've played so far this year, they're just going to be more polished with more experience for this year. I just think they're going to just be too much. And 2.5 is a good number. 3.5, might have thought about it a little bit more, but I'll definitely take BYU to cover here.
We got one difference already. I'm going Boise. With all due respect, we're all like real hyped on BYU right now, and that's great. They're 7-0. That's great. Last 5 games. Louisiana Tech, the University of Texas, San Antonio, Houston, and they're real bad this year. We've seen some good Houston teams. This isn't one of them. Texas State and Western Kentucky. So those are your last 5 games. So forgive me if I'm not going to completely jump on the BYU hype train. And that's not to say that Boise has a bunch of great wins either, because their 2 wins are Air Force and Utah State. But I think what I'm doing here is playing I don't know who either of these teams are. These are both really good group of 5 teams, but neither of them have played anyone. I don't know who either of these teams are. I'm going to take the underdog. That's it. This just feels like a black box versus a black box. I don't know who either of these teams are. I'm going to take the underdog.
All right. That's fine. Our guest picker this week, Jared, is Austin.
Austin
is currently in 9th place with 16.
Eek.
Well, just 2 less points than us, so it's not.
Yeah, but 4th place versus 9.
Yeah, it sounds worse.
It sounds a lot worse.
All right. Let's see what Austin says here. 2.5 points is basically nothing. But I think both of these teams are equally as good. I really like the BYU quarterback. I haven't seen much of Boise yet this season because they obviously barely started. This game might as well be a pick'em, and I had an ex-girlfriend who went to BYU, so I'll take Boise and the points.
Smart. Smart.
All right. Next up, Jared, we have the team up north taking on the Hoosiers
of Indiana.
The team up north is a 3.5 point favorite. Who do you have, Jared?
Indiana. I was honestly surprised to see Michigan favored. I think I would have taken Indiana in a straight pick'em. I think I would have taken Indiana if Indiana was like -2, -3 points. So, yeah, hell yeah, give me Indiana. Indiana with points. Yeah, I'll take Indiana with points.
This one's...
I really want to point out that Michigan State is terrible. Michigan State is a terrible football team, and they beat this Michigan team.
I know. I just don't see this Michigan team, just losing 2 games in a row here. I just don't see it though. I think they get their acts together here. I think they're going to be able to run all over this Indiana team. Indiana is just going to try to pass, and we saw that like during their Indiana's actually they won both games. Sorry, in the game that we remember against Penn State, where they could barely move the ball against Penn State there. I feel like they're going to struggle against Michigan, and as long as Michigan doesn't turn the ball over here, I think Michigan will win here, and I'll take Michigan with the points.
I mean, that's yeah, okay. I really want to fight about this, but we really don't have the time. When in doubt, give me the quarterback, and I'm gonna take Penix.
I don't like either.
I at least know who Penix is, though.
All right. Let's see what Austin says. I think this Indiana team could be a lot of fun. I think their offense could struggle a bit here against the, let's go, vaunted Don Brown defense. I want to see Indiana be undefeated when they play Ohio State. And in order for that to happen, they have to win this game. The points help here, as I think it'll end up be a 3-point game either way. So I'll take the points again.
Austin and I are synced up.
All right. See what we got next here. We have Nebraska, after their bye week, taking on Northwestern. Northwestern is a 3.5 point favorite. And I got Nebraska. I think Nebraska is a lot better team than what they displayed against Ohio State. Ohio State's just that much of a superior team. I think Nebraska is a good team in general, and I think they're going to show it here. I'll take the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I think part of the problem here is that we've only seen Nebraska once. We've seen Northwestern twice. The one time we saw Nebraska was against Ohio State, which is just not fair.
Yep.
We saw Northwestern slaughter Maryland. We saw them eke out a win against Iowa. Again, we have such small sample size in the Big Ten right now. It's really hard to make quality determinations here. I think ultimately I've seen Northwestern be pretty good. And I really just can't get on the Nebraska. Can't get on Nebraska right now. So I'm gonna take Northwestern. It's a small spread, so it doesn't really scare me off. So I'm gonna stick with Northwestern.
Okay. All right, and we have Austin says here Penn State is the best 0-2 team in the country, and Northwestern might be the worst 2-0 team. They've beaten two not so hot programs to start the year. Nebraska unfortunately had to open with Ohio State, but they showed a lot of promise. I really do think the line is off here, so I'm taking Nebraska to win outright. All right, next up here we have, I forget what this rivalry is called. Either way, it's Florida and Georgia.
Does this game have a name?
I thought they did. It was like something about like between the hedges or something.
No, that's Georgia.
Okay. I don't know what I'm thinking. Either way,
it's
Florida. I
don't know what you're thinking either.
It is Florida and Georgia here. Georgia is a 4.5 point victory. Or, excuse me, 4.5 point favorite.
Oh, whoa, hold on. Okay. Sorry, I'm super confused. I have the tabs open for the games, and I thought we were doing Houston-Cincinnati. Is that one next?
That one is next.
Okay, so Florida, Georgia. Florida, Georgia does have a nickname, and, well, they used to. I think they replaced it with something else. But it used to be the world's largest cocktail party. And they always used to play it in Jacksonville. I don't know if I'm pretty sure they don't call it the cocktail party anymore because God forbid we encourage college students to drink.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah.
I don't know if they gave it a less alcoholic name now or what the deal is. And quite frankly, I don't care. And I'm tired of talking about it. Let's talk about the actual football game. Yeah, Georgia favored by 4.5 points. Who do you have, Kyle?
I have Florida. Georgia's offense is just a disaster right now, and it should not be with the amount of
defense.
Well, their offense is terrible too. I mean, they scored 14 points against Kentucky. 14. They scored 14 points.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I am a mess right now. I thought you were talking about Florida.
Georgia's offense is struggling.
Whew.
Come on, Jared.
I need to quit drinking.
They scored 14 points against Kentucky. They just have not looked good at all this year offensively. They just struggled, and their talent just overtakes just inferior opponents later in the game here. I just cannot pick Georgia. I honestly cannot. So I'll take the Gators here, even though the Gators defense is bad.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I look at the season so far here. I'll take my chances here. I'll take Florida.
I'm gonna go Georgia. I'm gonna go Georgia. 4.5 points is not very much, and I believe that they have a much deeper, more talented roster. That's it. That's the entire thing. Now I'm kind of going against one of my tenets of when in doubt, pick the quarterback. Trask is a much better quarterback than what's his Stenson Bennett. Whatever. It's sort of the deep talented roster versus pick the quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is, again, probably if Georgia had both, it wouldn't be 4.5 points. But so just give me the depth, give me the quarterback depth. The overall roster depth, and I'm going to take Georgia.
Okay. This rivalry, Jared, you'll never guess what it's called now.
I won't.
Called War for the Oar.
See, but then they just went and incorporated the word war, and that's because that's the thing. Like the Oregon State game used to be the Civil War, but then they decided they didn't want to call it a war, so they just adopted war out of nowhere. They're just going to end up changing that at some point.
Maybe. All right.
What's Austin say?
Austin says here, I'm not sure I've ever seen Georgia look worse through 3 quarters, because we all know the fourth is Georgia choke time against Bama than they did last week. That doesn't fill me with confidence. Their offense can't get anything going, but they face a Florida defense that has left a lot to be desired to start the season. However, I think strength on strength, Florida's offense versus Georgia's defense, Florida with Kyle, and Kyle can come out on top outright. Come on, guys. It just means more. And he picks Florida. All right, next up here, Jared, we have Houston taking on the Fighting Fickles of Cincinnati. Fighting Fickles are a 13.5-point favorite. This is a 3:30 game on ABC, so this might be a game you might want to just have on your side TV to watch.
Yeah. All right.
Who do you got here, Jared?
I'm going Cincinnati. Let's look at their games. Yep. So Cincinnati's favored, you said 13.5, right?
13.5.
Week 1, they win by 35 points.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2, they win by 14 points.
Against the Army defense.
Yeah. Week 3, they win by 21 points.
Mm-hmm.
Week 4, they win by, is that 29 points?
That is 29. You did math right.
Math. Then Memphis, they win by 39 points.
Okay.
They've won by 14 points at least every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll take Cincinnati with a 14-point as a 14-point dog.
Yeah.
They've yet to not do that. And by the way, Memphis, SMU, at the very least, I can make the argument that everyone except Austin Peay are better than Houston.
Yeah. I'll take Cincinnati here too. Looking at their similar games here. Houston played UCF. They lost 44-21. Nope, that's UCF, not USF. I apologize. Never mind.
I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Central Florida, Southern Florida. Southern Florida, the University of Southern Florida is in the middle of the state.
Yes. Yeah.
Florida.
We've had this discussion before. Yeah, I'll take the Fighting Fickles. I don't need to say much more. Their defense just looks really, really good right now. I like them. Like them a lot. All right, Austin says here, I really don't have anything to say here besides that Cincinnati is just better than everyone in the American. That's it. This was 14.5. I might consider it, but pick Cincinnati.
Fair enough.
Yes. All right, next up here, Jared, we have the big game here for the weekend, Clemson and Notre Dame. Clemson without Lawrence back at quarterback for Clemson there. What do we got here? We have Clemson is a 5.5-point favorite heading on over to Notre Dame. Who do you have for this game, Jared?
You go first real quick. I need to look at something.
Okay.
I got it.
Right.
Gosnell, the tight end we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see this on the phone? Literally just committed to Ohio State.
Coming
to you live. Well,
or 2 days later.
2 days later.
All right. Well, that's great. Great to hear. Well, there's a boom right on recording here.
All right. Clemson, Notre Dame. Clemson favored by 5.5 points.
And I don't know why I said 3:30. I thought Ohio State game was at 3:30. That's for the Maryland game.
It's all good. Yeah, I've been thinking about the Maryland game more too.
Oh boy. All right. Who you got here? Clemson or Notre Dame?
Clemson. Easiest pick of the week. I know Lawrence isn't playing. I know they struggled last week without Lawrence. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I think they're gonna be fine this game.
All right.
Their quarterback, DJ, last name I can't pronounce, and I'm not gonna try. He had his first ever start. He's a young guy, incredibly highly touted quarterback. Went out there and just didn't have a good first game that he was thrown into the week of. You're an incredibly young, incredibly inexperienced quarterback. You find out you're starting that week. That was a tough situation to be thrown in. He was rattled. He got better as the game went on. He'll be much better this game.
Well,
Clemson
and
rolls.
he's going to be playing a lot better defense here too.
Clemson just outclasses Notre Dame from a talent perspective. The only reason they looked as bad as they did last week was because Boston College showed up super ready and Clemson did not, and Clemson didn't have Trevor Lawrence. Their backup quarterback's going to play better this week, and Clemson will either plays down or plays up to their competition level. They're going to go into this Notre Dame game looking like the Clemson team that blew the doors off of Miami because they're actually going to show up ready.
Yeah, and also Clemson was without a couple of defensive players too, if I remember, against Boston College as well, I believe.
I'm not sure. But the point is that you just sort of have to figure out which Clemson shows up. And this is going to be the Clemson that slaughters Notre Dame. Slaughters them. 5 points, easiest bet of the week.
Yeah, so I look here like, okay, yep, Clemson scores a lot of points. They score about 46 points a game. They let up about 15 points. Notre Dame scores about 35, lets up about 10 points. Oh, who am I kidding? It's Clemson. It's Clemson here. Even without Lawrence, there's only one other guy you have to really worry about here. You don't have Lawrence, but who's their main weapon here? Who's their main guy that's who's going to anytime he touches it, he has the chance to break it and score a touchdown any given moment.
ETN.
ETN is the difference maker here. I'll take Clemson here. This isn't. You can double this, and I'd probably still pick Clemson.
Yeah. I think I was shocked when I saw this. I was expecting to see like 15, 16, 17 is what the number I was expecting to see.
Yep. All right.
And I would have taken Clemson.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what Austin says. He says here, anyone who watched any part of the Clemson game last weekend and thinks this is a good line is a fool. DJ, insert last name here. Thanks, Jared. Actually played really well against BC. It was the defense that really let them down in this game, along with a few offensive miscues from other players. This line is indicative of Trevor playing.
Sorry, you finish.
But I think Clemson is just that much better than Notre Dame. Also, don't trust Ian Book, but that's another conversation. I would take this all the way up to Clemson favoring 13.5.
Wow. Austin and I really are in sync. He even misspelled Cincinnati the same way I misspell Cincinnati. That's just, he misspelled it in the email he sent us, and it's the same way I do it.
All right.
By the way, turnovers by DJ, insert last name here, put the Clemson defense in some bad spots.
When you think too, like, wasn't he the one that fumbled the ball? Yeah. Wasn't he the one that fumbled the ball right at the 1 yard line? Returned it. That's a 14 point difference right there.
Yeah.
Instead of Clemson scoring touchdown, that's Boston's College touchdown. Yeah, that's a 14 point turnaround there.
Yeah. To say that he had a good game, I do not agree with.
I don't either.
Not in the first half.
I think Clemson made some great second half adjustments. Because I don't think Boston College scored. I'm going to double check. I don't think Boston College scored a single touchdown or a point actually in the second half. I'm going to look here. Yeah,
Clemson's
they shut them down that second half.
Clemson's halftime adjustment against Boston College is when they went to the locker room and then they took their head out of their ass. Mm-hmm. That was the halftime adjustment. Like, oh, maybe if I take my head out of my ass.
Mm. Right. Oh, and it wasn't DJ that fumbled it. It was a different running back. I don't know if that was ETN or not, but either way. All right, moving on.
Was it on a handoff though?
It was a handoff,
and it was a bad handoff. So, even if he doesn't get the fumble on the stat line, yeah. All right, Kyle, we have one last game.
All right. Yes, we have your Fighting Buckeyes in Columbus, 7:30 primetime on BTN. Taking on the state of New Jersey Scarlet Knights.
State of New Jersey? New Jersey State?
The state of New Jersey.
Oh, the state of New Jersey. Yes. I apologize.
The state of New Jersey Scarlet Knights.
Is it now?
Ohio State is a 37.5 point favorite.
It's that half point that gets you.
That half point.
Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say Columbus?
I believe I did.
You did. Did you say Ohio Stadium?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. You're good at. You're getting better at this. Did you say BTN?
I did.
Did you say New Jersey?
The state of New Jersey.
Did you say Buckeyes?
The Fighting Buckeyes.
So you know what time it is?
It is time to know your enemy.
Always be selling, right, YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Always be selling. Know your enemy. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Oh, that's what their name is.
Oh, see, and you were so close. You were so close, Kyle.
So close. Rutgers coming into this game 1-1.
Hey! Good job.
They have a win in the Big Ten for the first time since, what is it, 2017?
Something like that.
Something like that. Something really bad. But hey, Greg Schiano bringing Rutgers back from the grave, right?
Sure.
All right, Jared, what do you want to talk about with this Rutgers team here, other than they have a nice shade of red?
Yeah, it's a lovely shade of red. So, Rutgers beat Michigan State. Mm-hmm. Michigan State beat Michigan. Therefore, in the flawless transitive property, Rutgers is better than Michigan.
If you say so.
And that's know your enemy. Good night, everybody. Now.
This is painful. And Jared and I were talking before we hit the record button here. Like I'm a stats person. I love looking at stats and pulling up numbers and reading numbers off to you. But I look at this and I'm like, holy shit, how did this team even win a game?
How did they win a game?
Because Michigan State's that bad.
Well, so let's take a look. You ready to take a look? Let's take a look.
All right, let's take a look here.
That didn't do the thing I wanted it to do. Come on, computer.
Looking at the Michigan State Rutgers game here?
That's what I was trying to do, but
right.
it's not doing the thing that I wanted it to do when I clicked on it.
Well, I will tell you this though, Jared. Michigan State had 7 turnovers.
That's the number I wanted. I couldn't remember if it was 7 or 6.
Lombardi threw 2 interceptions, and the team lost 5 fumbles.
So let's 5 fumbles.
Rutgers didn't even get 300 yards total.
Yardage total 276 to 369. Nice. First down. Time of possession basically even. Michigan State had more first downs. It wasn't. It's not what you would call a clean win.
No.
And again, I'd like to point out that Michigan State actually terrible.
Yeah, but I tell you what, yeah, Michigan State's terrible. I mean, they had 50 yards on the ground.
I mean, Ohio State
is Rutgers that good on defense? Because they held Indiana to a buck 9 on the ground too. They held them to 2.7 yards per carry. Does that mean that Indiana or that Rutgers rushing defense is that good? No. They just both Michigan State and Indiana's rushing attack is just that bad.
Yeah, this is not a good team. One of the things that Kyle and I always attempt to do on this podcast is be honest. We like to be honest with you guys. You know, we prepared you for the Notre Dame game. We told you that, or Penn State, for the Penn State game. And we tried to set proper expectations for you that it wasn't going to be some sort of blowout. The Penn State, despite losing to Indiana in week 1, was actually a pretty good football team. We let you know that Nebraska, while not great, is and was a team that was progressing in the correct direction. Now, even we were surprised by Ohio State's struggles up the middle. But yeah, it is what it is. It's Rutgers. Mm-hmm. I don't want to come on here and be like, here's all the reasons why Rutgers is good, actually. Because, they're a team trending in the right direction, but that's pretty easy to do when you were at rock bottom. Because that's where Rutgers was. Kyle just said it, that they hadn't won a game in the Big Ten in years.
You know when the last time Rutgers had a better overall record than Ohio State?
Oh, Lord.
You want to take a shot in the dark here?
What was it, the lost season?
Well, I'm not going to include that. I'm not going to include that.
You have to. You can't just not include it. No. I don't mean no. Not the retracted season.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right.
The lost season.
Mm-hmm. You are right. Yep. When Ohio State went 6-7, Rutgers under Greg Schiano, went 9-4. But before that though, you got to look way back to 1988. I believe that was John Cooper's first year. Rutgers went 5-6.
Fun times. Guys, this team's not very good. We're not going to... Ohio State's a 37.5-point favorite for a reason. Yep. They have some talented players, of course they do.
Most notably a transfer from Ohio State. Many of you probably recognize the name Brandon White.
Yep.
Is their starting free safety. I think he's like third in total tackles on the team right now. He has 17, an interception and a fumble recovery already for the year. He wears number 7. So in case you guys are curious on where he's at and want to just general knowledge, he wears number 7 on defense there.
Yeah. Bo Melton's a pretty decent wide receiver, plays for them. Guys, I'm not gonna do this thing where I pretend that Rutgers is good. Rutgers is a bad football team. I like that Greg Schiano is already making some progress with them. Good for them that they beat Michigan State. They had to be +5 in the turnovers to do it. The statistics on a team losing when +5 in the turnovers is non-existent. I know, and the NFL is a completely different animal because so many of the teams are so close to one another, especially compared to college from a skill level. But the number in the NFL that if you're +4, that's 4, not 5, 4 in the turnovers, that you win like 94% of the games.
I was expecting that to be more of like 99%.
Well, maybe it is for 5 turnovers.
Either way, even though they were +4 against Michigan State, they still only won by 11 points.
Yeah. Guys, this is not a good football team. We're not gonna pretend that it is, and we're really just not gonna spend a lot of time breaking. The biggest question though is, will Rutgers cover? That's probably going to be the biggest question. Will Ohio State cover this game? It is 37.5 points. That's what we're here to answer, Kyle. That's our job.
All right.
We're not quite there yet though. Before we do that, included in our Know Your Enemy section is the subsection of Austin's over-unders.
All right.
What does Austin have here? Austin getting more play on the podcast today. All right. Let's see. Rutgers first downs over under 11.5. For reference, Penn State had 15, Nebraska had 17. Under.
I'm going to go with the over.
All right.
Not by much.
Austin revealed to us over the Discord server that he is in fact tracking these.
I will tell you. So Rutgers had 16 against Michigan State and 19 against Indiana. I think they'll get I think they'll get right there at 12.
I know it's 11.5. I think is the perfect place to put that. I think that's the perfect line.
Yeah,
but I'm going under. Amount pass attempts for all backup quarterbacks combined.
Ooh.
Does that include Rutgers?
It says all backup quarterbacks, so yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go over. I think Ohio State gets Fields out rather early, and I really have no idea what Penn State's doing in the quarterback room. Maybe they get a guy in there, because even if Ohio State gets their backup quarterbacks in there early, they'll primarily be handing off. But add Rutgers into that equation, and I think 16.5 is possible, is very possible. Especially, and then if there's an injury, then you blow right past that number. All right. Amount of missed field goals. 1.5. I'm assuming this one's just for Ohio State.
Yeah.
I would have maybe said over, except the black stripe news.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe
I'm going
to go under. He said he almost made it 0.5. That would have been more interesting. Amount of sacks for Haskell and Tommy Togiai combined over under at 1 3/4.
I'm going to go with over. I'm going to go with over here.
I'm going to go under. I think it's the defensive end's turns. The defensive end turn to feast.
All right.
The coveted amount of catches by tight ends at 4.5.
As much as this is the year of the tight end, I don't think they have to rely on them as much this game. I'm going to say under. Going to get the freshmen, the shiny freshmen, more touches in the wide receiver group.
Okay, but here's my thing. If this plays out the way we expect it to, and if Justin Fields gets pulled early, tight ends are a lovely, lovely safety blanket for true freshman quarterbacks.
It is.
So for that reason, I'm going to go over.
All right. It is the year of the tight end.
Amount of yards for Olave and Wilson combined at 199.5.
Well, that is a great number because they are combining. They both are combining for 100 yards a game.
Yeah,
over 100 yards a game.
Yeah, over.
I'm going to say under, just because the same reason for the last one too. I think they're going to get a lot more touches with other receivers as well. The ball is going to be shared across so many players in this game.
All right, let me ask you this. What if we include rushing yards in this? It doesn't say reception. Amount of yards, because
I'm going to say no to that too, because I don't think they're going to do another handoff like they did with Wilson to start the game against Penn State. I think they're going to try to do the basics, really try to establish that running game. Want to see if they can continue to build off of their improvement on the running game like they did against Penn State. So I don't think they're going to try to do anything too fancy. So I'd be surprised if a wide receiver has like more than like 20 yards.
Okay. I'm still going over, and I say that simply because I feel like there's a real good chance that both Olave and Wilson have some like distance touchdowns. So it's a lot of cheap yards.
Yeah.
All right. Amount of defensive turnovers for the Buckeyes at 2.5. I'm going under here.
Yeah, I'm going to go under. I'm trying to remember how many turnovers have Ohio State had for the year. I don't know.
Have they forced? That's the question. How many turnovers will Ohio State force?
Let's look here.
I honestly don't feel like Rutgers is going to have enough plays. Like I don't know that they're going to have enough plays to generate many turnovers.
Ohio State is averaging 1.5 turnovers per game.
Takeaways.
Yes.
Yeah. So even then, that number feels high. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't feel like Rutgers is going to have a ton of plays.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay, I'm going under here.
All right.
Should have made that one 1.5, Austin. All right, now we do the subsection of Know Your Enemy, where Stuart E4 US Vet forces us to say names that are hard. There's some doozies on this Rutgers team.
All right, let's just do a few here. We are over on time here, so
we're always over on. Yeah, okay.
Let's start with the running back here, Jared.
Isaiah Pacheco.
I like that.
All right. Tight end Matt Alamo. I feel like I'm ignoring one of the vowels in the middle. Alimo. Then there's the left tackle Tunde. Nope. I'm out. Moving on.
Fatukasi.
See, you're going at it as if it is Japanese. I think it's Polish.
Yeah.
Oh, these are terrible.
Well, there's another one too. They're starting linebackers. I wonder if they're brothers.
I would assume so.
Fatukasi.
I don't know. Man, these are brutal. Defensive tackle Mayan Anatu. Anat. Oh boy. This one doesn't have any vowels in it. Let's see. Place kicker Guy Fava. I'm gonna go Fava. I'm gonna go long A.
Okay.
Maybe just Fave.
I like the backup long snacker, the long snapper, Matthew Sportelli. Yeah.
All right. We hit most of those. let's try and keep let's keep an episode under an hour and a half for once, Kyle. All right. Ask Sloopcast. Let's do these quick. What schools should Jimmy Harbs be sending resumes to? None.
None.
NFL. Get back to the NFL, Jimmy Harbs.
Yep. All right. Duncan also asks, what does Wisconsin's cancellation mean for the West and Champions Week representation?
Probably they're just going to go by records, I'm sure. They're just going to go by records. And if Wisconsin has...
The worst East is not going to play. So they have to play 6 games in order to be eligible.
I did not know that.
I believe that's what it is. They have to play 6 games. So this is their second one. So if they miss one more, I believe that's what it is. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that's what the case is.
Someone let us know if Kyle is right or wrong, either maybe YouTube comments or on Twitter.
Because
in our Discord server.
If that's the case, then that means that the worst team in the East would not play then.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. By the way, we have, speaking of the Discord server real quick, we now have a free section in the Discord server. There's a spot just for our patrons, and then there's a public space. And you can join our Discord server at discord.thesloopcast.com. This one's from Austin, who has now worked his way... Wait a minute, we jumped into Ask Sloopcast, Kyle. We never gave our final predictions for the Ohio State game. Trying to rush to the end here. All right, Kyle, final predictions for the Ohio State game. Let's do it.
All right, what do you have here?
I have Ohio State with the win and the cover. I am going with a total of 62 points, 52-10.
52-10. I have a total of 70 points. I have a total of 70 points. The final score of Ohio State, what is that? 45.
You do this backwards. You're supposed to pick the
backwards.
final score, then add them together, not pick a total, and then divide it.
All right. I have the final score: Ohio State 52, Rutgers 18.
Awesome game prep, Kyle.
I had the total score because I was going through. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go with that. Not really thinking too much about the final score.
What's Austin say?
Austin says here, the game of the week. Ohio State comes into this one rolling. Nebraska taking care of Penn State early. Really like Ohio State to win this one pretty comfortably, but maybe not as comfortable as others may believe. Schiano and Rutgers is magic. And although they won't win this game, this isn't the Rutgers of year or two ago. I like Olave and Wilson to go off again, and Ohio State wins. But he's taking Rutgers to cover. Final score 52-17.
Wrong.
Which gives him a total score point of 69.
Nice.
Just as a reminder, I believe, was it last year? Yeah, last year's when we had that really odd game when Rutgers was scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar. And wasn't the spread last year was it over 50 points for Ohio State Rutgers?
It was something ridiculous, but the final score is 56-21.
Wasn't the spread something stupid like 51, 52 points for Ohio State Rutgers last year?
It was something...
You don't have to look it up. I don't even know where you'd find that. Let's see. So, Austin question. Ask Sloopcast, what would you say the odds are that Olave or Wilson wins the Biletnikoff? For anyone who does not know, that is wide receiver of the year. I'd say pretty good.
Yeah.
Olave is
you're double your odds here.
Well, you could also split the voting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Olave, and we're 2 games in, so let's not get too crazy with is currently
Olave has the touchdowns right now.
Yeah, so let's not get too crazy with currently pacing, only 2 games in, but pacing over 100 yards a game and 2 touchdowns a game in a shortened season of 9 games. That's he's going over 100 yards a game, enough that he's going to hit 1,000 yards and then 18 touchdowns. Now, he's not going to keep that 2 touchdowns a game pace up, but even if it's 15 or 14 over 9 games, that's still amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, Jared, it was 52.
52
was last year. 52-point favorite. And Ohio State scored 56.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's see, where are we now? Another one from Austin. Will Indiana be undefeated by the time they and Ohio State play?
No. If you listened earlier, I said no. Because I think Michigan will win. I
don't think Michigan will win. Let's see. Trying to find it real quick. Michigan State are the 2 teams in the way. They beat Michigan State. And, Kyle and I might disagree on what happens between Indiana and Michigan, but it's a coin flip-ish, right? It's a 50-50-ish. Maybe a 55-45. So, what are the chances? I'd say slightly worse than 50-50. What are the chances? Indiana, maybe like 40%. I'd say about 40%.
All right. I was going to go with about 33, but...
You're giving Michigan State too much credit.
All right. Duncan says... he says save this for later in the year.
Well, go ahead and just get his next one.
All right. Next one, also from Duncan.
Yeah.
Ohio State being featured on BTN for 2 weeks to boost those BTN ratings. Or is it just a function of Rutgers and Maryland always being on BTN because the other networks don't want to waste space on them?
It's both. You say, is it this or is it that? Well, it's both. You need Ohio State on BTN for money, and that's where Rutgers and Maryland belong.
Yep.
It's not an or. It's not either or. It's yes.
Yes. All right, last one here. Brawley says, according to DraftKings and FanDuel, Mac Jones and Justin Fields have surpassed Trevor Lawrence as Heisman favorites. This is true. If both win out and have impressive campaigns, does Fields get the nod since this is surely his last year?
Stuff like that shouldn't factor in, but sometimes does. It'll just come down to the stats, and I don't think Mac Jones is. If you're being real honest with yourself, and I'm not saying this because I'm an Ohio State fan, if you're being real honest with yourself, Mac Jones is a guy. He's putting up great numbers right now, but Mac Jones is a guy. The wide receivers at Alabama are nuts. Absolutely nuts. And yeah, the Ohio State wide receivers are also absolutely nuts. But if you're actually watching the games, Mac Jones is throwing a lot of 50-50 balls. Justin Fields, on the other hand, is deciphering defenses, putting the ball in perfect placement in tight windows, throwing his wide receivers open with proper timing and proper routes. A lot of the Mac Jones stuff is like, my guy will get it. I'm not saying Mac Jones is bad. Don't take that as me saying Mac Jones is a bad quarterback. I'm not saying that. But he's also just not on Justin Fields' level.
No.
And most people aren't. Everyone knows how I feel about like Ian Book and guys like that. Put Ian Book at Alabama and see the numbers he puts up. Because the wide receivers are just insane at Alabama right now.
Yes.
All right. That is our last Ask Sloopcast question. That is our last everything. That's it for the show. We got it all? I think we got it all, Kyle.
I think that's it.
Oh, shit. I never did the second coffee read. I guess I'm doing it right now. In the audio version of the podcast, I will cut this in a place and put it earlier in. YouTube, you guys get this raw. Welcome, YouTube. All right. Iron Bean Coffee Company. The Iron Bean Coffee Company is a world-class hand-roasted micro-batch coffee company. They're based out of Perrysburg, which is near Toledo, Ohio. Their coffee is fair trade certified and USDA organic. You might go there and get a little bit of a sticker shock on how much the coffee costs, especially if you're used to buying stuff like at Kroger or Walmart or whatever. But these are the bags. I'll put it next to my head for scale. What's up, everybody? The coffee is amazing. Like I said, it's all freshly roasted. So you're not getting stale coffee. You're not getting something that was in a warehouse in the back of the grocery store, on the shelves at the grocery store for weeks on end. It's not roasted until you order it. If you're getting it ground, obviously it's basically getting ground, put in a bag, stuck in a box, and shipped to your house. If you live near Toledo, you can pick it up at the store. You don't have to wait for it to be shipped. If you don't live near Toledo, you get free shipping for every order over 50%. Some of their more popular flavors are available in K-Cup. And like I said, it's a company that's based on integrity. It's owned by veterans, or at least a veteran. It's have an amazing selection of coffees. And like I said, it's high level, both from a quality standpoint, but also from an integrity standpoint. It's a company that, like I said, is all fair trade, and it does all that stuff right. And again, you're supporting a veteran-owned company, and you're supporting an Ohio-owned company. It's win frickin' win, baby. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can find a bunch of great coffees at ironbeancoffee.com. That's ironbeancoffee.com, America's local coffee roaster. All right, Kyle. Now it's the end of the show. we're bad at our job sometimes. Let's see. Want to encourage everyone, like I said, check out the Discord server. There is now a public section of the Discord server. We just opened it. We just opened the Discord server, so it's not very populated yet. So don't get too scared off by that, especially the public section is not overly populated by that. But again, it's free. Just go to discord.thesloopcast.com, sign up for the server, join a bunch of like-minded Buckeye fans. I know during our political season that Twitter and Facebook and a bunch of other traditional social media places became unbearable. So basically, we've carved out our own little section of the internet, and we call it discord.thesloopcast.com. Come check it out. If you want access to the premium channels and early access to episodes, a bunch of other cool stuff, merchandise, among other things, you can check out the podcast Patreon page at patreon.thesloopcast.com. And you can basically help us keep going and help us add more features to the podcast, maybe add an additional episode to the podcast, do a bunch of cool crap, which is what we want to do. But we need a budget to do it. And so even if you give us like $3 a month, that gets you access to most of the premium stuff. And that would be fantastic if you could help us out. And again, it's $3 a month. It's not a big deal. And that's all the spiel I feel like doing. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
Couple of things. One, Scary Terry.
Okay.
I hate that. Terry.
I hate that nickname.
Terry McLaurin.
I hate that nickname.
Now with the Washington football team, is now captain.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he is a captain for the Washington football team. Just get
promoted mid-season like that?
He did. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. One other thing that I like...
as a second-year player, by the way.
Yes. One thing that I like, Tony Gerdeman over at the Buckeye Scoop, it's behind paywall. I won't go too far into this, but every Wednesday night he has his own like Wednesday night Gerd chat. So he has a bunch of interesting things that he likes to post about and just little tidbits and all that. Did you know, Jared, we kind of covered this, Rutgers giving up 79.5 yards on the ground per game. That means that Rutgers has the fourth best rushing defense in the country.
Good for them. Well, we'll see how that goes.
Rutgers has allowed just 4 rushes of over 10 yards per game. Ohio State has allowed 8. But
yeah, well, okay.
I'll just say, but
stats are fun. That's all I'm going to say. Stats are fun.
Fun. Yeah.
Or rather, the story behind stats and why stats are sometimes an anomaly are fun. All right. Anything else in Kyle's corner?
I want to have an over-under for everybody. Send us some comment in YouTube, shoot us a Twitter message, or if
Discord.
If you're a Sloop Cat, shoot us a message on Discord, or if you're not a Sloop Cat, shoot us a message on this on the Discord here too. I'm going to set the over-under at 5.5. 5.5 incomplete passes from Justin Fields.
Ooh. Okay, I'm not
over or under.
So that's for everybody else. I don't get to participate in that.
That's for everybody. 5.5 incomplete passes for Justin Fields.
Ooh.
Well, let's know what you think.
That's a good one, Kyle. I like that. All right. Anything else in Kyle's corner?
That's it. Let's end the show here.
Yeah. Tonight's ending music will be by the New Bomb Turks, a 90s punk band from Columbus, from Ohio State, maybe more specifically. So New Bomb Turks, a little bit of punk music. We'll get right in and out because it's a punk song. You can check the show notes for all of the information, links to. They probably don't have a Bandcamp page because they're not current, but there'll be links down in the doobly-doo for something, as well as the name of the song. You can check out all of our links, including merchandise. We're both wearing some Sloopcast merchandise tonight. You can check all of that out. You can find all the links for that stuff at the Sloopcast thesloopcast.com. That's thesloopcast.com. That's just going to get you a bunch of links to a bunch of other stuff. It's just a campsite page where it gets you links to other things. So you can check all that stuff out there. So once again, ending today's show is the New Bomb Turks. So with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course support your local podcasters. Once again, New Bomb Turks. We're going to do it, Kyle. We're going to get in under an hour and a half. I mean, just barely.
Barely.
Third episode? We have to start talking about doing a third episode, Kyle. This is a thing. That or we just have to start the show with the Sloop Picks for now on. Just like immediately into the Sloop Picks. All right, let's rejoin our audio listeners. Whenever you're ready, Kyle.
And this episode of the Sloopcast was brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, an Ohio-based company where they have currently 14 seasonings for you to choose, each bringing their own uniqueness depending on the type of barbecue you want to grill. Want something that has a little kick to it? Do the Snore and Heat. Want something with a lot of kick? Do the Four Horsemen.
Or the
want
Discord.
something with some bourbon in it? The Old Fashioned. There's a lot of different varieties over at the MadCanadianBBQ.com. That is the MadCanadianBBQ.com. Be sure to use the promo code SloopCast10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
This episode of the Sloopcast also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. I told you why you should shop there. Now let's talk about what you should get while you're there. Let's see. I have a bag of the cast iron right here. This is one of the ones that showed up in the sampler. This is a sampler bag, so it doesn't get all the fancy artwork like you might be seeing here or with the unicorn. But that one up there, that's the Ride or Die. That's a 100% organic Brazilian, tumbled with cocoa nibs, vanilla beans. It also has kind of a bourbony flavor to it. It's excellent. The cast iron is a medium roast coffee that is a 100% single origin Honduran Arabica bean. That's the cast iron. I still have the seal on it, but with, you know how it is with coffee bags, you kind of squeeze it and you can smell it. It smells great. There are, like I said, there's a ton of great ones. Here's the drink from the Skull of Your Enemy, a traditional Indonesian coffee that is that is edgier and smokier, thick, creamy, chocolatey notes of strong cedar, sweet tobacco, wine, and spice. That one sounds great. I'm gonna have to pick up a bag of that. All that and more can be found at ironbeancoffee.com, America's local coffee roaster. OHIO. YouTube, my face, playlist, Kyle's face, subscribe. You can subscribe to here or the Buckeye Scoop, depending upon where you're watching this. We don't care we want you to subscribe to both. We don't care where you listen, but please subscribe to both. Subscribe to the Buckeye Scoop YouTube channel as well as our YouTube channel if you do not mind. And follow us on Twitter and do all that happy stuff. All right, go ahead and click one of the face links now. Peace.